Jessie, I'd love to start with you and just ask about the certain energy I think that Jo brings with her. I'm wondering if you can talk about what it's like to find that energy on set.
Yes. So it's like 3 parts Red Bull. And then there's this musical artist, which I always feel, people say the term musical artist. Her name is Ashniko, and she raps, and it's like very rage heavy. I listen to that pretty loud early in the morning, which just kind of sets a tone for me. And then, yeah, I just kind of like have 2 modes. There's like the sweet schoolgirl who's just like kind of nice, and like I talk kind of like more like this. And then there's the version that's like full rage, and I just try to avoid anything in between. So it's kind of just like a on and off switch, and it's funnier the less middle ground there is.
Sure thing. Have you ever like lost your voice from being so much at one end of that spectrum?
Honestly, I almost lost my voice laughing in season 2. I did a lot of laughing, and I remember everyone was like, we gotta move on because we're gonna lose your voice. But it was the last thing of the day, so we all were like, it's fine, she can vocal rest in her sleep.
Ashley, can you talk a little bit about Rachel? She was headed off to school at the end of last season, but we see an awful lot of her at MQ this season. How's Berkeley working for her?
It's not really. It's the reality. Yeah, Rachel goes to Berkeley and kind of realizes that she doesn't fit in because she's not as smart as everyone else, and that maybe she made a bit of a misstep. So she's kind of deadbeating around Mythic Quest, trying to steal food and figure out what she's going to do with her life. And a path opens up to her at some point in the season that I won't spoil, but is kind of a challenge for her morally. So yeah, it's an interesting season for Rachel of sort of uncovering things about her that maybe she wished she didn't know.
Honestly, the stealing free food as a student thing is very relatable.
Yes,
Love that.
That's right.
Ashley, you also got to step behind the camera as a director this season, and I'm a big fan of Rocket Jump the show, so I've seen your direction before, but I'm wondering if you can talk about what it's like to direct this crew.
It's so nice. I mean, it's just a well-oiled machine. Our EPs have assembled such an incredible crew. Mike Berlucci, who's our DP, is incredibly talented and also the nicest person you'll ever meet. So working with him and figuring out how we were going to shoot stuff, it was just a joy. The cast is incredible, getting to work with them. And I was the most excited about that because I knew how talented everyone was. And I just wanted to get to play with everyone's different levels. And it was really, really fun. And I felt really supported and really empowered to do a good job, which I think, you could expect that maybe people would be a little bit skeptical about one of the actors stepping behind the camera, but 3 of us did this season, and the crew was just so supportive and just wanted us to succeed. So it was a really great experience.
That's great to hear. It's lovely when so many of the actors can also take on these additional roles. I know you also write for the show too, and you wrote an episode this season as well?
I did, yeah.
So you've been wearing a lot of hats for Mythic Quest this time.
Yeah, I'm just piling them up on top of each other.
That's for sure. Jessie, Jo is back working with David, and she's been paired off with a number of different characters. I'm wondering if you can talk about some of the new relationships that she builds up this season and what it was like to find these different maybe rapports with different characters.
Yeah, we've really established that rage, like her chaoticness. And this season, we really get to see a softer side of Jo. We see what it's like when she's more invested in helping a man that doesn't have very much power. She's trying to be reformed in that sense. So, she handles a cup of tea with the level of intensity that she once dealt with, like a 14-year-old, so to speak. And she murders it, is what I'm saying. I completely forgot my train of thought. There was a second part to this question, wasn't there?
She builds up a bunch of new relationships this season.
New relationships. It's so fun to see what it's like for Jo to try to bond with other women, and what it's like for Jo to deal with some rejection, like when she kind of puts herself out there and she assumes, we've established there's a great moment in an episode where Poppy and Rachel realize that they've upset Jo, and they handle it with like kid gloves a bit, and they're a little bit more loving towards her. And I think it's really sweet to see these women find relationship and like some common ground, even though we know eventually it'll all get thrown to the side and they'll be fighting again. But it was really fun to explore kind of like what it would be like for Jo to have a nice day.